Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the number one show to bring you all things Club América in English, from tactical analysis
Pelota para la banda izquierda.
to player updates. We've got you covered on all the latest news on Las Águilas. Now, let's start the show. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be recapping everything that happened at the Rose Bowl, the history that was made there, and we'll give you guys an in-depth look at what happened against Chivas as we reign victorious against them as well. We'll talk a bit of club news. There's a lot has been going on from the last time I spoke to you guys, so plenty to talk about. Discussions, a player has retired. We'll talk more into detail about that. I know that my certain co-host might be a little bit thrilled by the announcement, but let me introduce him. It is none other than Chris Rivera himself. Chris, how are you, my friend?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. We always talk about the weather. I don't know how else to start these conversations, but for me, it's just
Yeah.
like, bro, why is it hot still? It's October. That's just how I feel, bro.
100%. And usually I do start it because it is a little warm still in the room that I'm recording, and I'm like, damn, it's October, this should not be happening. But if it gives you any bit of comfort, it should be our last little heat wave, for this week, and everything looks like it's gonna be nothing but cool weather from now on.
Hopefully, it's cool weather until May, bro. I just want like nothing but fresh air, bro, because I don't know about you, but I'm just the type to really sweat when it's hot, and I hate that, man. So I just want to put my hoodie on and just chill for a bit.
Same, absolutely same. And more so because I felt it's a perfect segue into what we're gonna start talking about. It's the Rose Bowl game. So obviously I was there covering the game for the podcast and everything, and my goodness, was it hot. And it wasn't dramatically hot, like we've had hotter days in California, but it was like maybe 91 degrees or something. It was like peak heat while I was walking around taking pictures, and I got to a point where I was sweating, I was exhausted, I was dehydrated at one point. I just thought I was gonna faint. I'm being a little bit dramatic here, but I just thought to myself, man, it's been a minute since I felt like this, and it wasn't even that ridiculously hot for me to be like overwhelmed. But I think it just goes to show the Californian in me just thinking it's too hot for October.
The thing that it was, bro, because I went to the you know what CBX is, the border thing from the Tijuana airport to California. You know what that is?
Where again?
CBX, the CBX border thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go pick up my dad. And the thing is, bro, the sun was just beaming on me the whole time. I think that's what it was, bro. It wasn't that it was like incredibly hot. It's just that the sun was just beaming on people. Like, it was just awful, man. And so I feel you. I agree with you. I wasn't in LA for the game, but I know for a fact that it was just super annoying. Then it was crowded too. I don't know if you were within the people, but I'm sure it was just like, oh my god, bro. Like,
Oh yeah, dude. I was in there, like, just in every nook and cranny that I could get myself into to try to take pictures and video and all that stuff. I'm gonna post a TikTok later so people can kind of see what the game day coverage is like, and maybe get a little grasp of what we do. But yeah, no, the sun was definitely beaming. But I mean, kudos to everyone there. They had their refreshments. They either had a water, soda, or beer, so they definitely had the upper hand on me. I was going in there with no refreshments whatsoever until I got to the press box. So yeah, they were standing long and strong. So shout out to everyone who's tailgating. Shout out to everyone actually that went to the stadium. Obviously, there was a record breaker. 86,134 people showed up to the game, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think it might have been more than just that, Chris.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think it was a lot more. It looks stacked, bro. Like, it just looked incredible, and which other teams in the region is going to pull those numbers, man? Let's be honest. I think it has to be the two top clubs in Mexico. You know.
It's funny because whenever obviously America announced that this game was going to be played here against Chivas at the Rose Bowl, automatically I thought, well, they just also had announced that El Tráfico. Well, I think it was already passed already. The El Tráfico had already passed. It was already played, I think. And I was curious to kind of compare and contrast. And I'm looking at the both pictures and I'm just thinking, wow, we were definitely the clear winners in this one. And not just talking about the game itself. I think it was a pretty decent game. Maybe could have been a little bit better. But fan-wise, I mean, the show that both sets of fans put out was phenomenal. I mean, and I'm not one to credit Chivas in anything. But, their fan base showed up and made themselves present just as much as America. I would dare to say, and some people might call me crazy or might say wrong, but it looked like it was very much 50-50 up to a point where I think I want to say it was around minute like 60-ish, where I think mostly all the fans had made their way back to their seat. And I want to say it was maybe 60-40 America. Maybe 55-45, I don't know, but I think America just won it by a hair. But it was jam-packed, absolutely crazy, absolutely amazing. I have never seen a stadium that filled. It's very much electric, and I mean, absolutely kudos to all the people that went there, whether Chivas or America, absolutely made history, and seeing it play out in front of, the way that it did at the Rose Bowl, just absolutely amazing. So kudos to all of you guys. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Primetime too for making the event possible, doing everything behind the curtains to make this a reality. And again, kudos to them. Shout out to them. They always do an amazing job. And I mean, what more can we say? But just absolutely grateful to be part of that and bring coverage, because our pictures were flying everywhere on Twitter, Chris.
They were taking credit.
Yeah, they were. Absolutely, they were. I'm always thinking, I was like, what would Mexico Twitter do without our pictures for these type of games?
And you,
because they always like to
do an incredible job, bro. Like, you really take the best pictures. The edit, everything's just perfect. So I don't even blame them for trying to claim it, because it's they're really good pictures. They're wallpaper type pictures, if I'm being honest with you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, we try to produce the best that we can here on the podcast, and it was funny because we've been doing this for over 5 years already, and so obviously been there, taking some really good pictures, and they've used them. And I was like, at one point, I was just getting tired. I was like, I need a watermark this or something, and eventually ended up finding out how to do so. And so it's just funny because I don't think they notice that they're just copying and pasting. And our watermark is clearly right there at the bottom of the corner.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. But I guess we could take some pride in that, knowing that they're using our content as well. So, but I mean, let's talk in general about this game. Obviously, the big takeaway was we were missing 10 players. So
11.
10 players, 11, excuse me, 11 players playing against, what do you want to call it, the A squad against Chivas, and being able to produce the game that we played out. I thought it was interesting that, we played as well as we did against what in theory should have been a much stronger side than us. But it goes to showcase that this team has depth, and not just depth, but talented depth that extends itself pretty well. I'm not saying that this team is capable of going and winning the Liga itself without the starters, but it's good to know that we can call on these players if and when needed.
Yeah, man, and it's crazy that it was 11 players and they had none outside of the ones that got suspended. But let's be honest, they really probably don't make a difference. So for me, it's key that, because I don't know, bro. I guess let's talk about Jardine, right? I think we haven't had this conversation in a while. Has the team finally understood what he wants, or do you think he adjusted to what the players want?
I think they met down the middle. I'm being 100% honest with you. They met down the middle. I think there was some fine details that he wanted perfected, especially when playing out the back. And in that final third, that just wasn't clicking. That I think he just said, okay, you guys get to this point, and then we can maybe, tweak a little bit. And the players seem a lot more comfortable, and they seem like they're 100% devoted to what the game plan is now. And I think it is a factor of they've had the time to work a little bit more under the manager, and also the manager's tweaking a little bit and playing to some of these players' strengths. If we're being honest, I mean, it's plain and simple to see if you're looking at this America from this point on to the America that we had 2 months ago, 3 months ago. It's night and day.
Yeah, completely. And it gets me excited because I'm gonna be honest. I'd rather have this team figure each other out later, right? Instead of like early, because I feel a lot of the times these teams just got too predictable, right? They're gonna go out do this, and then Liga comes, and well, the other teams already know how to game plan against it, because
Yeah.
I mean it's just too predictable. And I feel with Jardine, you started with this team with it just feels like they're just starting to understand each other. I don't know if you agree, but Sendejas and Leo Suarez didn't necessarily have a great start of the season. I feel like they were confused to what Jardine wanted, and
Yeah.
now you're starting to see them like perform to what or have an impact. Not necessarily perform. I do think they both, but they are making an impact. While back then you didn't really feel that.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And you know what the sucky thing about it is that I think Leo Suarez probably had the better of season than Sendejas to start off. But unfortunately, because of the injuries to Valdez, he's been pushed to that cam spot. And I think he struggled a little bit to understand that role. And he played it in the game against Chivas and looked okay, all right. He showed some moments here and there. So I think Leo Suarez has had a little bit more of the more difficult task, which is playing two roles in under one season. And so kudos to him for being able to at least showcase a little bit of bright moments here and there, especially whenever he does have to play that number 10 role. But you're right. We're seeing a much better America side. And I think it also helps that you finally got yourself a tall defender, Chris. I think that's something that you would definitely agree. I mean, you said it yourself. One of the advantages of getting Igor was he was going to give us an aerial advantage that we definitely lacked for some time now. And it just shows. It just absolutely shows how confident America is, not just on attacking on a set piece, but defending a set piece as well. And again, that's crucial in all aspects.
And that was my argument when we had the Zimmerman talk on the group chat. It wasn't necessarily me saying, let's go sign this spectacular defender. It was more, this is our weakness and this is what he's good at, I understand your counter argument was, look, he's not going to a team. He's never been in a team with these type of expectations. And for me, it was just, well, he covers the boxes of what we need, and the next guy's going to cover the other side, right? I think Igor is the same thing. He's just being himself. If we're being honest, he hadn't played since May. Like that tells you a lot. It's not just like, he was trying to work. Mind you, he's not a bad player. He's a really good player. But the fact that he's just able to be plugged in, be himself, it just make an impact like that. And Ramon Juarez, who's also good in the air, right, also helps him. I think that it's just been a perfect chemistry or a perfect match between them two. And I don't even think Igor and Israel Reyes look that bad either. I think Israel Reyes maybe is a little bit more clumsy in a way, but I don't think they were a bad matchup either.
No, they weren't. They weren't. And look, I'll tell you this much. Talking more in regards to the game and what we were seeing being played out in the Rose Bowl, Chivas definitely had the upper hand in the beginning, right? The goal that America scores is definitely against the run and play. And we'll talk a little bit more about that goal because my goodness, was it amazing. And I've talked to you guys about it, and I said it is the best goal I've ever seen in live, in person, while I'm there. Best goal I've ever seen covering America, just hands down. But before that, Chivas is on us, right? Oscar Jimenez has to make a great save. Just moments after that, Chivas gets a header inside the box. It goes wide. From there on, America gets the goal kick, and then, we score, which is definitely against the run of play. Chivas was definitely more so on top of us. And even after we score the goal, I think they come and they press us a little bit more, but it just goes to show that defensively, the player that looked the most solid, I would say, was definitely Igor, right? So it's definitely paying off, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he can continue this good run of spell. Not just, from here on to Liga to the end of this contract, which would be December.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And hopefully it's not one of those things where he just has an amazing first season, sign him up for a second one. And then, things look a little sideways and this and that. Hopefully he can just be consistent. Yeah, there you go.
Another Viñas. If we're being honest.
No, 100%. But look, he's I think you mentioned that he's enjoying himself at America. He's playing what he wants to play at. And so given that liberty, he's definitely come out and look like the best center back that you could have possibly picked up in this summer transfer window for America. And that's crazy to think because he was like literally like a deadline day purchase. So
literally, I mean, remember like all the names that were rumored. Sergio Ramos was rumored, bro, and if you really think about it, he wasn't close, but he wasn't far either from it being a signing. If you really think about it, they thought about it. It was one of those situations where they said, "Give me some time out, let me think about this." And then you're not mad where he ended up going, right? He went to his childhood team. Like, okay, cool, but then you kind of look at the list and you're just like, man, like, I wasn't necessarily mad at the Igor signing. I just knew, like, if it doesn't plan out, he's not married to the guy. And if he does good, then he does good. It's not like he didn't have the potential, right? In Cruz Azul, he was really good. And I believe it was, Necaxa, right? He was in Necaxa before that, and he was really good there, too. He was a name that we probably wanted when he was in Necaxa, just like other players, right? And he goes to the Middle East, and it doesn't plan out over there. It goes to Tigres, and if I'm being honest with you, all of Tigres center backs aren't good. So it might not even be a player thing. It might be a coaching thing over there. So we might have gotten a steal. And like you said, hopefully it's not just a right now thing, and then later on he sucks, right? Hopefully it continues. But even then, I don't know if you agree with me, but I would still be in the center back window next transfer window. Maybe
there's still a lot to kind of consider with a lot of moving pieces for America this January transfer window. But I mean, we'll get to the nitty gritty of it later on once the season's over. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's still some reinforcements to be made, and we'll maybe talk about it in a different podcast of all these confirmed rumors that we have these 2 signings confirmed. And God, this Twitter account that just boils my blood every time I see him tweet. But nonetheless, let's get back to the Igor thing and the game itself. Like I mentioned, right, Chivas was on top of us, and rightfully so. They looked to be the better side, but America didn't really. I mean, America bent, but they never really broke, and they showcased, right? I mean, after that Chivas header that goes wide of the mark, America then kicks off in typical Jardine fashion, which is their typical way of going out. I mean, you guys weren't able to see it if you're watching the Tudene commentary, because for some reason, I don't know why, they were just messing around. And Tudene has this tendency of always doing the wrong thing at the right time for the viewer, which I'm assuming you saw it better, Chris, because you were watching it on Peacock, right?
Yeah, I was watching it on Peacock. It was a beauty. It was a beauty, brother.
So you got to see it in its live glory. And Jason got to see it as well, too. He's saying, saw that goal live. That was amazing. So just to describe it, and I'll try to do it just as much as I can, but forgive me, Quinones, if I do not, because, again, it was truly stunning. So America takes off and gets the goal kick. They start playing out of their box. They find their ball all the way to the left-hand side, with Cabecita running down the wing. And as Cabecita is running, a little pocket of space opens that he passes it through to Quinones. Mind you, Quinones is still, 25, almost 30 yards out. The ball is bouncing when he receives it. And the man doesn't even think about it twice. Looks up, takes the shot as the ball is mid-air dropping to his feet. And as you're watching this live, whatever angle you're looking at it from, you're seeing the shot take off, and you're thinking to yourself, no way, like he's overhit it or something. Because the way the ball is curving, you're thinking, oh, that's going out. But I don't know what it was, if it was the LA winds or what it was, but it just curved so beautifully into that top corner that the goalkeeper was even stunned, and all of us in just awe. I mean, the America fans celebrated. The reporters in the press box were just kind of like, no way did he just try that, and no way did he just score that. It was the funniest thing ever. I was sitting, and behind me were two Chivas players, right? There was the Chivas people that run their Twitter accounts, right? The social media accounts. And it was funny because that play just prior, they were like almost celebrating that they scored, but they were kind of like, oh, darn it, like almost, right? And just dead silent, like absolute dead silent as that goal goes in. And they're just kind of like what could they say, right? Like they were just like, he did it again. Quiñones did it again to them. And I thought it was the most hilarious thing possible because I just kind of, I could see a little bit of their faces and they're just kind of like, no way, you know? And so I thought that was pretty funny.
My homie went to the game and he was telling me, he's like, bro, like for 6 minutes, everyone was still like laughing, just like stunned from the goal. Like, it's crazy, bro. You know, he's even said, he's like, that's the best goal I've ever seen. And you said it yourself too. He's like, the best goal I've ever seen live. And,
no, yeah, absolutely, honest, man.
Right? That's what you said. Absolutely. Too. You're his biggest critic, but you said, I want to see what they say he does and what he is, right? And you see some of the goals he had in Atlas, just straight up bangers. And that's a little tease, I guess you could say, right? Because it's a friendly. It's not but if this was in a Liguilla, like, bro, just imagine the momentum that the players would get off of that type of goal energy, you know?
No, and the level just raised after that for America. Like they knew they were like, all right, we're in this. Like, you know, regardless of our absences, like we are in this. And I mean, the stadium erupted. The America fans made themselves loud and clear, and it just phenomenal, absolutely amazing goal. I mean, whoever found themselves recording that moment in real time and was able to capture that in their phone gallery, kudos to you, because my goodness, is that a gem? Absolutely beauty. And look, this stadium has seen so many great goals, right? And just from talking about a Mexican perspective, the last great goal that we saw in that stadium was probably Giovanni Dos Santos' chip on Howard in that Gold Cup final. I'm not saying that this was to that level. I think that one was way much more golazo and a lot more difficult. But it's up there as really good, like really amazing golazo. So
where was Aguilar's goal at?
The Coliseum, no?
It was in LA though, right?
Yeah, it was in LA.
Okay, I don't remember. I just remember that goal. I was gonna say maybe that one was top three. With Paul Aguilar was there too, right? I saw pictures of him.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Paul Aguilar was there. He was there. They gave him and Luis Hernandez kind of a little bit of like a commemorative little award. You know, just a little something to kind of say thank you to these players and all that stuff.
That's great.
But
that's great. I would have wished they gave him a farewell game, but I guess Layun kind of took that, right, as his farewell Clásico.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. And I guess maybe we'll get on the topic now because, you know, this was kind of an interesting thing that America did. So as the players were warming up, like maybe 5 minutes into it, they kind of all huddled up in the middle of the pitch, and I took a picture of it. And, you know, they came out, they gave, you know, a little tribute to Miguel Ayun. Obviously, he announced that he is retiring after the end of the season. And so it was kind of like a little nice goodbye in a way for him to say, you know, goodbye to the fans in the U.S. Obviously, alluding to the fact that I don't think America is going to come and play in the U.S. again, at least for the remainder of this year. So it was nice to see that, you know, they did a little something for him. Obviously, the fans, surprisingly enough, were very good receptives of that. So they applauded him, they cheered. Not a lot of boos. I was afraid that there might be. But no, again, it was a good reception, and I thought a nice little tribute to Layun, because, of course, everything and anything that he's done has been looked at in a microscope in an America jersey. So, you know, he's hit the lowest of the lows and hit the highs of the highs with this team, and so I think it's just a good sending off farewell for him here in the States. So I think he's one of those players that very much a lot of people love and a lot of people hate at the same time. So I mean,
I
it
don't
is
even
what
think
it
it's
is.
real hatred either. I think it's just more of a
No, I think it's just the moment
harsh
of it.
criticism, you know?
Yeah.
Because even me, like, if I step back and look at his career, you admire it. But in the moment, you get mad, like, just it feels more of a privilege thing from him than a earned thing, I guess you could say. Like, you just watch him play and you're just like, why are you playing over someone else that can younger players, right? You would imagine someone of his caliber would understand like it's time for someone younger to step up instead of me. But it feels like he kind of says, "Oh, I'm carrying the team." I don't know. It's just vibes that he gets on social media. But when you step back and look at his career, and you look even in his America career, like for me, I've always had this argument that he's not a club legend because he had more bad years than good years. But that one good year that he had was spectacular. No one's gonna deny that, right?
No,
He won
absolutely
two
not.
titles, Well, he won almost two titles because he in the 2013 one it was not necessarily because of him, but the next one he was captain. You know, he was captain, and then he wins and goes to Europe. And look at his Europe career. It's like he doesn't get enough credit for his Europe career. And then he
No,
comes
he
back to
definitely doesn't.
Mexico and he wins a title with Monterrey. So it's not a bad. It's a great career. Like it's a really great career. Probably one of the better careers if we're being honest from a Mexican player.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's a very decorated player with a very good trajectory, not just in Mexico but in Europe as well. I mean, not to say that he played in the highest of highs, but the man played Champions League. The man played
Brother,
Premier League.
he led Europe in assists. That's how like great he was. Like if
Yeah.
he had a year where he led Europe in assists, and that's not just like and as a left back, it wasn't like he was playing like that was like his first or second year with Porto, and he was like top assister. Like he wasn't just like it's a great career, and you don't want to like crap on him or anything, right? So you do feel bad when you do. So like I'm glad that we are able to at least celebrate his career and his time with his accomplishment with America.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and I think he definitely enjoyed that, and he was happy. I mean, as any player would. And so, like I said, it was a very good tribute. But AP Junior saying, "Thank God el Pertardo se retira." And shout out to AP Junior too, because he was the first comment that said, "Let's go playing FIFA and listening to my favorite podcast." So shout out to AP Junior.
Are you playing FIFA or EAFC? That's the real question.
No, I think he's playing FIFA. But he's probably playing FIFA 22. That's the last FIFA that America's in, so he's probably playing that one. So shout out to you, AP. That one makes the most sense to me, at least from my perspective. I think that's what he's doing. But you know what the funny thing is? The first ever Clásico that I covered was America Chivas at the Coliseum. Was a farewell tribute to Moises Muñoz.
Moises Muñoz, my bad, yeah.
Yeah, so, and this one kind of was a farewell tribute to Miguel Ayun. This was 2018? Yeah, it was 2018. So it was 5 years apart. Look at that.
That's great. It's been 5 years since that game.
5 years since that game.
Bro.
Which, by the way, Guido scored a great goal. Not a golazo, but it was a great goal.
1-1, right?
Yes, 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, I went to that game. Damn, bro, it's been 5 years.
5 years since now.
I get sad, bro, when you look back because I think lockdown just ruined our lives, bro. Because
no, it did. 100%.
It was close. It didn't feel that far, bro. 5 years. Yeah, and Marchesín played that game too, right? Second half.
Second half, Marchesín plays that game. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's
crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. But AB Junior confirmed he's playing EAFC 24, so I guess he'll probably go back to FIFA 22. Yeah. He'll go back to
America in
it. yeah. He's playing with mods. I like it. But yeah, so interesting stuff to notate right there. When they've come to LA, they've always put on a show. So that was awesome. That was great. And again, to everyone that I saw out there, and to everyone that was willing to take pictures and be part of the coverage, and to everyone that really showed up, absolutely amazing. I mean, again, what more can I say? It's phenomenal, and I felt honored to be part of that, making history with 86,000 people in attendance in that stadium. It was just crazy. You know who was there? Jen Munoz.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you know what?
Did you hear?
She wasn't so far away from the press box because I saw her story at halftime, and I was like, hey, I know exactly where that's at, and I was like, that's like literally next door to us. I unfortunately wasn't able to. Just with everything, it gets hectic covering a game by yourself, and so I did want to reach out to her to maybe see if I could get a word from her or two, but I lost track of time, and you always have to keep an eye on with the porra because you never know what they're gonna do. So I'm always like kind of in the all right. I got the camera ready, I got my phone ready just in case, and at the same time you have to cover the game going on. So it was crazy, but shout out to Jen. She was out there. She went to support the America in her
She's
hometown.
always
So
there. That's dope. It's dope to see like former women's players showing love like that. Because it's a newer team, right?
yeah.
So it's dope to see that they're still there. Communicating with or supporting the club, and you know, it's just super dope. So I got a question for you, brother.
Go
So
for it.
have you covered every an America game in every California or LA stadium?
Yes. Since 2018 and on, I have gone to every single game that America has played at, with the exception of one game and one game only. And you were at that game. We lifted a trophy that day.
At the Campeones de Campeones.
Campeones de Campeones was the only game I was not able to get accredited for.
I was there. I was at that game.
And you know what the funny thing about that
bro.
is?
I threw up in the penalty. I think you revived me, bro. That's how nervous I was.
Dang. You're like those bacon wrapped hot dogs came right back out.
No, I didn't eat the whole day because I knew I was gonna get nervous, bro. Like that gut feeling in the morning was just like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat. I know for a fact that I'm gonna be like really nervous, and the nerves hit, bro. Let's just say the nerves hit, and I was right behind the porteria where Martin scored that.
Dang. No, yeah, no. I mean, I get it. Trust me, I get it. I definitely felt like that too, and I was watching from home. So, but yeah, that's the only one.
My question is, rank them, rank the stadiums, bro, or like how, or just overall, like just your experience just covering the game.
Okay, yeah, this is a tricky one. This is a difficult one, but it's a really good question. Hands down, I'm gonna go this Rose Bowl as the number one because just with everything, the record breaker, the Quiñones goal, the fact that it was a Clásico, just top. Worst place to get out of traffic though. Just absolutely, I was stuck in traffic for like an hour.
Everything
yes, no, trust me, bro. I'm taking everything into consideration. So that is definitely still though number one. After that, I'm going Dignity Health Sports Park. I mean, America's played there plenty of times, right? And I'm just going based off stadiums here. So Dignity Health Sports Park, I think, goes second, just because it's a great stadium, easy access, easy to go in, easy to get out. I mean, big enough crowd. It doesn't get too hectic. It's just a good overall environment. And truly, I love that stadium, and not just because I support the Galaxy or whatever, but it's just the first ever stadium actually I ever been to. Honest, yeah. This is a very first stadium I remember. My dad took me to watch America versus Chivas USA. The Home Depot Center was called at the time, and I went as what people in England would call full kit wanker. So I went 100% in like America jersey, America shorts, America socks. Like I went all decked out. So yeah, put me in, coach. Put me in when the penalties were going on. But yeah. So for me, that stadium always has a little bit of a sentimental value. So the fact that I've been able to go cover there, that's been cool. The third one is going to be the Coliseum. I know a lot of people say it, but you don't really truly see it until you go behind the scenes. The Coliseum is falling apart. Like it really is. Like it's an old stadium, and I remember when I was covering that America game, I was going to the press box, and to go to the press box, you have to go behind the curtains of it all, and you go through the elevators and this and that, and you just saw all this kind of construction going on, and it just looked like I got on the elevator to go up to the press box, and I was like, I think might be the last elevator I ever get into. Like it was scary.
But still better than SoFi?
Well, oh, you know what? That's the other one that I'm there being to SoFi. So the SoFi game, yeah. Which
okay, I thought you went to SoFi. That's all. That's
no. Like, if I would have gone to SoFi, maybe that would have been different. I think that would have gone a little bit higher, maybe second, just because of what I've heard about that stadium. But
what about the San Diego one then? You went to that one.
San Diego is right after that one. Look, really nice, really clean, really good. It's just the distance you have to travel, go all the way to San Diego, and the parking was a little bit of a mess. Not too crazy, but it was a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, it's far from the freeway. Well, not that far, but it seems like it's a pain in the butt.
It can be, especially going as a fan, because I went there to go watch Manchester United play then, like a month later, and yeah, it was a nightmare. And then after that, I would say, and you're gonna think this is crazy, but America played a game at a baseball stadium in Fresno. Played against Atlas. It was the very first game we ever went to cover it.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, this is the very first game we ever went to cover it as a podcast. We had 300 followers on Twitter at that point. It was the first time we ever got credentials. I drove there up myself, like by myself. Like where I'm from to Fresno is 4 hours. Yeah. So mind you, 4 hours, baseball stadium, and that's why it's only at the bottom. But I have nothing but the best things to say about the people who ran that place, who worked there, and I actually got to meet Ted Brooks there. So he was in charge of the Club America English account at the time. He actually came up to me, recognized me, spoke to me, which I thought was crazy. I'm like, how does this guy know me? I'm a nobody. We got 300 followers. Like, we're just some random guys just talking on the internet about America. And
it's
so
career mode videos, brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the career mode stuff too.
Bro, yeah. I didn't know that you did that, and then I remember I asked Dylan, "Hey, how did you meet Ivan?" Because of YouTube. I'm like, "Wait, what? What do you mean? You did career mode?" I'm like, "What the hell?" I found that out like so late, bro. I was like, I didn't know that. Like, probably Clutch watching that because I'm like super into like career mode.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, I used to love it. I never really finished any of the series, but I always had fun. And so I mean, a lot of people kind of saw that, and I got exposure because of that. But no, yeah, but it would definitely go last, the Fresno one, just because of the distance, the travel. It was definitely one of those. It kind of sucks that has to be your first game, having to go all the way over there. But yeah, I mean. Still, like I said, nothing but great things to say.
Was it Dallas or Houston? Houston.
So I've been to Dallas. I've been to Houston. I've been to Chicago.
Oh, damn.
All of those like those rank in different spots, but really cool, really really great stuff. You've been to Austin? No, sorry, San Antonio too, because of America. So. Look, there's a lot of history in the Eagle Eye podcast. One day we'll sit down and we'll discuss all of the stuff that's gone behind the scenes. I've always had nothing but great interactions with people. I saw Turco Mohamed for the very first time in person at the Houston game. It was America's playing Monterrey, and he was the coach. And I kid you not, we were standing maybe like 4 feet. Me and Dylan were standing 4 feet away from Turco Mohamed. I look over at Dylan. I tell him, kid you not, this is the very first thing I tell Dylan when I see Turco Mohamed. I'm like, Dylan, those are the tightest skinny jeans I've ever seen in my entire life. And he just laughs and he agrees with me. Dude, I kid you not, man. I don't know how that man could walk in those.
You can see it on TV, bro. You can see it on TV too.
I was like, Jesus, man. I was just like, and he's a short man, right? So he looks like your typical like Mexican tío that still wants to be hip and young, but his clothes his clothes outfits were just not it. So, yeah, I'm telling you, I got a lot of great stories about covering America here in the States. So one day we'll sit down and
We gotta
Yeah, we'll
do a
sit down
podcast.
and we'll have a chronicle on all the fun stuff we've been able to do and all the great interactions we've had. So this has been fun. We've seen some stuff that's just it's been great. So, but yeah, no, that's a great memory. Thank you, Chris, for the question, man. Thank you.
We haven't even touched on the second goal.
Yeah, no, yeah, which is let's just do that so we don't
Yeah.
spend too much time here talking. Um, Funniest goal though, to be honest, it goes in like slow motion in real life, and I'm pretty sure that's what it looked like on TV as well.
Yeah.
Is the funniest thing because the cheapest players clear, but it had obviously already by then gone through the line. So great cross from El Mesmari.
Crazy
So
cross, bro. Really confident. One
mhm.
thing I don't know if you agree, but I always had this issue with youngsters where they don't kick the ball hard enough. I don't know if you agree with that, but anytime we debuted a player or young player, right, they would always try to shoot or pass hard or cross, and he just never put any strength to it. Just the
Yeah,
fact that
no.
it was perfectly curved in, and usually those type of crosses just, for us just doesn't go through. I don't know if it's just we don't have good like players or whatever or that cross or we do have good players that cross, but we don't have good finishers, I guess you could say, right? And that just passes to two defenders, and you see Quinones like stumble across it, and he like barely taps in, and just like bounces in all slow and like you said, slow motion. Great goal, great pass, great cross, and I like that. I'm high on Bruce, man. I think Bruce was really during his Pachuca days when he was in the academy. He left, kind of disappeared when he was in over here in the States. But I hope they give him those opportunities.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, I was not very high on Bruce whenever I saw him play. I think it was against Santos that we played at Dignity Health Sports Parks, and I was like, I knew the hype behind him, and I just didn't see it in that game. And then there was another friendly where again I didn't see it, and I'm like, But this one he showed out, and I mean, you saw the cross, you saw what he was producing on that right wing. He looked very comfortable on the ball, and like he was playing to what he wanted to play, and so. Yeah, I think he's a player that gradually we need to continue to kind of incorporate him um, and it's not an easy task. He has quite the competition, right? Sendejas, Leo.
Yeah,
But if he can come in, do a job, I mean, look, this squad is going to need heavy rotation this coming up year with CONCACAF Champions League and, all these other friendlies scheduled as
league,
well. Such a
and
tight
then next year League Cup again.
Leagues Cup again. Yeah. So a lot of opportunities for these players to showcase. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, again, great cross and good goal. I mean, I don't know what you would have to say about it.
Yeah, a great goal, and like I said, like it's slow motion and Quinones being there. That because I think one of the things we criticize, right? You're more harder on him than I am, but I do think there's times where he plays a little bit too out, and he's not necessarily there where he needs to be. Not his fault. He's
Yeah.
not a natural nine, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that he's there, and even if he hits it weird, like it still goes in. That's all that matters. Right, the perfect positioning and a goal. Right, he gets two goals on Chivas. Like what else? And it's momentum thing. Now we have this expectation from him that okay, now with the main squad, you're gonna continue doing these numbers.
hmm Yeah, no, I agree. Great positioning by him. Great header. I mean, places it exactly where it needs to go, and like again, it rolls in the slowest of ways, small, slow motion and everything. But um, yeah, it was just one of those things where you're like, wow, I can't believe it actually went in, and yeah, it went in, and again, the Chivas guys all of a sudden got very quiet again. So it was a it was a funny one again to kind of look over and be like, wow, you know what,
Do
this is
you
kind of
feel
interesting.
tension? Like, does it feel like a tension thing inside those boxes? Just super
No,
professional.
no, not necessarily. Well, you know what? This is an interesting thing, and I'll say this about my time covering America in a press box. The only time I have ever seen anyone get rowdy at a press box has always been these Chivas guys. So the guys that work in the press box, the for Chivas, right, which is the social media guys, they have a tendency to show their colors a little bit too much. Like, you're already wearing the uniform. Like, we can tell who you're with. Like, you don't need to cheer and celebrate like if you're another fan out there in the stands. Like, we're all trying to be professional, courteous, and just kind of do our job. Not to say that everyone is following that, right? There's some people that show their true colors inside that press box. Maybe shouldn't necessarily be doing so if you're trying to be kind of quote unquote professional. But these Chivas guys take it a little bit more to the extreme. Like, I'm telling you, like, they are like fans, literally fans in there, like cheering. Like, if you're watching this game at home through the TV and you're just like, oh my gosh, or pass the ball, or oh my god, I can't believe that, almost winning, like those type of stuff, right? And I'm just kind of, I personally don't like it. I'm just like, dude, come on, like, just just go sit outside and watch the game if that's how you want to be, like, you know. And so it was funny because when I covered the game at the Coliseum, the people at that were inside the press were like, "Hey, like, you gotta simmer it down. Like, I get you're with Chivas, but you gotta keep it professional." Because I think they were trying to argue like, "No, with the club, this and that," and I'm just like, "Nah." So yeah, I did. The only people that I feel like have ever gotten that rowdy to that point where you kind of a little bit annoyed by it, is them. And Midwestern Cholo says, "Isn't there a rule to not cheer for any team in the press box?" And yes, that's the rule. So, that's the standard, and the fact that they're not following it, I think, is a little bit disrespectful. Because, I mean, I didn't see him this time, but the America guy, he's always there in the press box. He's always just very professional. Always keeps on a very serious face. I don't know if that's how he is, or he's just trying to give that persona, that look, that he's very professional in that sense. But always just, when America scores, when America gets conceded, or America almost scores, like, just always kind of professional, straight to the point. Never any issue of like him getting loud or rowdy or anything like that. So, I think that's the standard. Because obviously, there's people that go there with an agenda of like, okay, like, for us, like, we are pro America, right? Because that's who we cover. But like, I'm not gonna sit there and scream and shout and celebrate like if I'm watching it on TV. Because I have to go out there, and I'm representing the podcast. I'm representing the institution. So I have to go out there and be professional. So I just think it's a little bit, I guess, bad on them to look like that. So I don't know.
Whoa, Midwestern Cholo just said it. Accurate representation of their team.
I'm professional.
I was going to say the same thing, bro. But I was like, should I just not say it? Like, should I be professional right now? He's right. Every Chivas fan, well, most, I'm not going to generalize, but most Chivas fans you meet are very like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, an interesting thing to kind of take right there. But look, not to paint the game in a different light, but overall, it was a good game, good environment. We saw some great goals, and we saw some good things, and overall, 10 out of 10 for me at the Rose Bowl. And I think for the fact that America played this game in a friendly, I would say pretty good result. No injuries, and we walk away with a W. What more could we want?
And that's exactly what you want. You don't want your momentum to be killed off of a friendly, right? Which we're gonna talk about Valdez's injury now, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, no. Let's jump into the club news that we need to discuss, because I know we're running a little short on time here. So obviously, Diego Valdez injured. We don't know how long or how serious the extent of his injury is going to be, but it looks like it's another muscle injury, which he's kind of been carrying since the League's Cup. It's unfortunate. He's our best player, Chris. I mean, but. And I kind of mentioned this joking around a little bit, but it really does feel like he's been made out of glass this season.
Hey, like I said, bro, in the chat, I really do think they're overplaying them from League's Cup. And not just him, bro. It's other players too. Henry Martin, League's Cup, international break, our games. And then we're playing, I don't know, the league always does this, bro. The Federation makes a BS friendly out of nowhere, and then they have to put all these games all squished in within the same week, right? So to me, it's like we need a just stay like I don't know, bro. Do what they do with Kawhi Leonard, bro. Like take breaks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's frustrating for me, bro, because that's why I'm like super hater when it comes to international. It's not just the Mexican national team. Only I get mad at them because like, why are you calling up your full squad for a pointless friendly when your important games are next summer? You know that's
Yeah.
my beef with the Mexican national team. With other national teams, I get it. You're trying to qualify to the World Cup, but then for us, it's like, oh, we got to find a way to like get other players involved. Like this is why we always have injuries, and it's super frustrating because I feel that's another reason why we're not winning titles, bro. Like you get players that get injured and then they come back, don't have momentum. Like you know, it's just super frustrating with me, and I'm always gonna prioritize the club. I've always said it. Like I don't believe Mexico will ever win a World Cup in my lifetime. America could win a World Cup of clubs. Call me
Yeah.
delusional, call me whatever, like. But if you, I have, I believe club have better chances at upsetting big teams like that in Europe than a national team that doesn't produce depth then they have to force the same players to play like. And they're all mid. Like I'm not trying to get into
Yeah.
this rant on the national team, but you're trying to understand where I'm coming from. Like it's just they're poorly ran, and there's the reason why the neighbors are producing better players. It's what it is. And so I
Yeah.
get mad at that, and so I just want us to prioritize the players. Don't force them. I'm glad Henry Martin only played like 20 minutes and nobody else played. So from that side, we're good. Valdez, hopefully, is just a cramp. Even if he has to miss out the Santos game, so be it. But let's be careful. Let's just take care of these players, man. And reject these, like, to send them out too if you have to.
No, yeah, I agree. And it's a tricky situation with the whole national team and everything, but I mean we'll see. I mean, fingers crossed, hopefully Valdez is fine. But I mean, in hindsight, like you mentioned, that at least that's the only thing. I mean, I know it's Valdez, right? So how can you be like that be the only thing if it's a big hit on us? But I mean, we'll probably know more about it towards Thursday, how bad it is. So maybe a couple more days out. He'll be flying back in tomorrow, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, as far as players and injuries go, I think that's kind of the
That's it.
only thing I have. And then kind of the big news that's been circulating America Twitter, and at least especially after this Rose Bowl game, the potential, I mean, I know it's a stretch here, but the potential opportunity for America to move to the United States for the Clausura of 2024. I mean, look, first of all, I tweeted out like way before this started getting in traction. I got a little bit of heat, right, from two people that are saying, one, it's technically not physically possible because there's a rule. I think that they would have to have
I read
FIFA
it. There's not
waive.
even a rule. I heard it's not even a rule because I saw that comment and I believed it. And I read later on that it's not a rule. It's just federations don't like. Depends on the federation, I guess you could say.
Which I think if that is the case, look, Mexico's already in bed with some, so it wouldn't be crazy enough to think that they would just waive an opportunity for America to come in, make really good money for not just them, but some as well. So, it looks like it'd be the best option for America, seeing that how there were some reports that even the Estadio Azul wasn't going to be an option for America, and that kind of was a little bit concerning. So obviously Emilio Escarraga talked about it during the what was it, the Hall of Fame,
A Hall of Fame.
the Hall of Fame event. He said that there was one or two surprises that they had potentially lined up for America in regards to where they were going to play. I mean, that's why I think I kind of hinted at the speculation of coming here to LA. Because I mean, look, I'm not saying America's going to sell out the Rose Bowl every week, but if they wanted to use it, they could easily fit what 50, 60,000 people a week. And I know that sounds outrageous, but look,
Unpopular opinion, we do sell it out pretty much every week.
I mean, I think it's doable. At least
I think
60,000 people, and I know that's crazy to think like 60,000 people, like that's
I think
nuts.
it's
But
very
look,
doable, bro.
yeah,
Very
no,
doable.
look, these fans do not have the opportunity to come watch America play in the
They
league
travel, bro. They
uh,
travel all the way from
in
New
numbers.
York, Chicago, everywhere. They travel from everywhere, bro. You see the banners, right? You see it all over the porra. Like they're from everywhere, and it's just like if they do that for a friendly, yeah, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think like if I was running like choosing a stadium, I'd do it in Vegas, bro. That's how you guarantee those numbers. Why? Because everyone's gonna go to Vegas. I tell you that as a Raiders fan, bro. Like Raider fans sometimes don't even show up, and it's nothing but visitor colors, and it's still like sold out, like packed. You know, like
Yeah,
just imagine America, where it's just like a bigger team than I would go as far as saying they're a bigger team than a lot of NFL teams, and that's probably an unpopular opinion too. But maybe like, again, I'm delusional, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
do
No,
think
I
America
think you're right.
packs numbers like that. I do think America will pack numbers like the Cowboys do, and I'm sure Dylan agrees with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would dare to say the same thing. Look, one thing's for sure, we definitely don't have fake fans out there in the stands like said Chargers
But
do. Okay,
Chargers,
just hilarious, by the way. But that's for another topic. But look, overall, regardless what they pick here in the States, is guaranteed sold out crowds for them, regardless of how they want to cap the sizes. Now, a lot of people are going to talk about, is this a possibility, right? We talked about the fact that this might have to be a discussion between federations. It may have to be a discussion with the league. The logistics of it all, right? Having to fly in other teams to these to the US, and what is it going to mean for the players? Where are they going to live? The logistics that come between everything like that, like training facilities, all that stuff. Look, yes, this is a difficult decision to make, and look, this is probably a head scratcher for a lot of departments in America. But it's not to say that it's impossible, but I don't want you guys holding your breath thinking that America is going to play a season or two here in the States. We're not forecasting it, and we're definitely not assuring anyone of it. But could there be a possibility? I would dare to say, yeah, why not? Let's dream about it, because it'd be pretty awesome to have America play here in the States, and something that no other team has ever done before. And I would dare to say maybe the only team that could possibly find a way to do it would be America. So again, interesting. We'll have to wait and see. Um, but yeah, I mean that pretty much does it in regards to this. Chris, let's just do this real quickly because we're running out of time here and we're a little bit on a time crunch. So last one, America Santos. Obviously, this game is going to be an interesting one. We need to find rhythm. We need to keep our top form, and we need to keep that top spot in the league. So it means that we have to go out there, play, perform, and most importantly, not lose rhythm, because we're going to have all those starters back. We're going to have all these players back into the first starting 11, and we need to see goals and a good game. So quickly, give me a prediction for the game on Saturday against Santos.
it's a tough game, bro. I think a lot of people sleep on Santos. I think we have a hard time playing against Santos. This game is either going to be a very dominated game for us, or they do the dominating. Maybe both teams dominate, right? I don't think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think we're going to see a lot of goals, maybe even a lot of goals, and we tie. But I think America pulls off a win. I think we keep momentum off of the friendlies. I think we win a 3-2.
3-2. You know what? I had a feeling you were going with that one. All right, 3-2. It's not bad. I can see it happening. You mentioned it, right? Look, I want to give our defense a little bit more credit. I think we're not as leaky as before, but I do think that we might struggle gelling back after this international break, which for some reason, I know it's only been a week, but doesn't it feel like it's been like 3 weeks since we've seen America play in the league? So
Well, it's gonna be 2 weeks. It's gonna be 2 weeks when the game starts. No, because we played a Friday.
correct. Actually, yeah, you're right.
It's gonna be 2
So
weeks.
yeah, these tricky situations and everything going on. So, but I'm gonna give our defense a little bit more credit, and I think we gel fine there. It's just a little bit creativity issues up top, but I think we're more than capable of managing a result and keeping the number one spot in the league. So I'm going 2-1. Should be an interesting game regardless. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at Eagle Eye Podcast. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on. Should be a fun one. Should be an interesting one. I personally can't wait to see it. It's one of those games where I think, something's bound to happen. Hopefully it's an entertaining game. And look, all I want is in America to come out, showcase what they've been showcasing, and again, give a compelling result that's going to give us just that much more of a calm feeling. So, for me, 2-1.
Good result. It's gonna be tough because it's Santos, and Santos always, even if doing bad, good, they always find a way to make things complicated against us.
Yeah.
You remember that Leo Suarez game against us?
Yeah, I do. I know. Trust me, I do.
Like, and there's been a lot. The Oribe Peralta game, I think they beat us for like 4-1 in Liguilla. You remember that?
Oof, yeah. Not
Was it
a pretty.
4-1?
Yeah.
Was it 4-1?
I don't know, but it was
Yeah.
not a pretty result. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So they're
But yeah.
always a headache. But if we strike first, I think it'd be their headache. All I know is
Yeah.
we're missing out on the Bruneta Valdez game if Valdez can't play, and that's gonna suck. But Bruneta might be a future America player just based off history.
That's true. Well, we'll see what happens. But hey, Chris, thank you so much for taking that time, grinding this one out and talking all things Club America. Thank you to everyone that came out and talked to us in the chat. AP Junior, Midwestern Cholo, Jason, and everyone out there listening to us. Thank you so much for making this a reality to be able to talk all things America in English. We'll be back next week to cover more things America. And until then, take care. And as always, Arriba la America. Good night, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English.